Thank you so much for joining. I realize that we're all busy frantically trying to get our last financials in and tax returns and then start gearing up for provisional tax next month. If you don't have a system right now, that might seem completely overwhelming and difficult to quantify. And so Data Grows is definitely a solution to help you see everything that needs to be done on time, especially where clients don't have a February year end necessarily. They tend to fall through the cracks. And so we cater to that to make sure that you don't miss those deadlines. So to give you a bit of background and overview, if you're not quite sure, Data Grows is a client CRM built specifically for accounting firms and audit firms as well. More than that, though, it is a practice management tool. It allows you to not only store and keep your client's information, but also automate your tasks and services that you perform for them, as well as monitor your staff's performance in doing those tasks on time. And so we provide a lot of information, a lot of reporting to help you actually see and make sure that your firm is running smoothly. That allows you to grow. It allows you to not overwork any one staff member, and leave and plan timing and all of that is catered for in the app. To begin with, if you are having a look at my screen here, this is the home page of Data Grows. You navigate to it by clicking on My Databases. A few important things to note in terms of this. To begin with, when you start your trial with us, your free 30-day trial includes full access to Data Grows, and you can upload your clients into the system and immediately begin working. This allows you to, or explains to you how to add your staff, to prepare your client upload in an Excel spreadsheet, so your existing client information. We've built a really user-friendly and intelligent Excel spreadsheet to help you populate the data. So that is the Get Started link. Don't skip that step. If you use either Xero or Sage, you can integrate with Data Grows into your accounting program. You can do it in your trial as well, and that is a very quick way to onboard your clients into Data Grows. So the same customers that you invoice on a monthly basis, we synchronize, and you can then just import them with a push of a button. So I would definitely recommend that if you use one of those two cloud accounting programs, that you do set up a session with us to integrate for you. Next, and not to be skipped, is the My Training database. If you click on that, this is also given to every user in your database. It contains vital training information to make sure that when you are using Data Grows, that you understand what the module or feature is that you are working in. And so when you're onboarding your team, they're also not just fumbling in the dark. It gives them insights into each table, and that then ensures that the data that you've uploaded is also protected from human error. So please go through each of these videos. They are custom to everyone's access within your team. So these will reduce depending on the accountant who has been added. And there contains a short video as well as multiple choice questions that basically just reinforce what you've just watched. And if you answer incorrectly, we give you the correct answer. But it is really a helpful tool that we recommend that everyone does. Then your database with us, your CRM, will be called Accounting CRM. And to open it, you simply click on it, and it will expand all of the tables as well as departments where we schedule all of the tasks that Data Grows manages for you. The driver of the logic is the clients table. This table is where you would store your active, inactive, dormant clients. So anyone who you are currently performing a service for or might have performed a service for, and you want to capture their information. We have 84 columns in this table alone there really is a ton of information that you can give Data Grows. And the more you give the app, the more automated your work will be. To edit a record, you simply click on it. You can expand it to a full view, and then you can begin completing it. So your initial onboarding can be via Excel if you have a lot of clients, but you can add them manually one by one in Data Grows by simply clicking Add Record. And as I mentioned, the Excel spreadsheet contains all of our drop downs that are in the app for when you are making your selections. And so there is no risk of you making any kind of selection mistakes there. Then the uniqueness of Data Grows is that each client, when you onboard them, is handled by your team. So whether you are a one-man band or a firm of 20 accountants, you will have different needs in terms of who looks after a client for the different services that we offer. And so the main accountant role here is the person who handles everything for a client. So they are responsible from receiving the bank statements, pay slip changes, etc., all the way through to drafting the financials. And from there, you can assign a manager and a partner to oversee them. If, however, your team is slightly bigger and you have more segregation of duties, you can then specify in the 5 major departments within Data Grows the other team members who are responsible for various tasks. And so if Sue does the day-to-day bookkeeping, but David drafts the financials, then all the tasks in Data Grows will go to Sue, but the financials will be assigned to David. And so that is how you can set up your segregation of duties and at any time have manager and partner oversight on all the tasks for any client. And so it really allows you to customize your team responsibilities. And as I mentioned in the beginning, when you do this setup, it is going to give you a very clear indication of which team members are carrying their weight and which of them are sliding by with 2 clients a month. We know those people do exist. So this allows you to spread the load. And then in terms of the automated services that we create, Data Grows was designed to help accountants in South Africa be able to switch on a service and know that the app will schedule the very next task whenever it is due. And so if the due date is prescribed by SARS or another regulatory body, we have built that code into our back end and we schedule the tasks ahead of time, but for that prescribed due date. And so things like the VAT returns, the EMP returns, the SIPC returns, the income tax, provisional tax, turnover tax, those are all prescribed by regulatory bodies. And so we give the due dates according to the certain selections that can apply. So for VAT returns, that will go according to their VAT registration type, depending on how they were registered with SARS. For income tax and provisional tax, those are linked to year end, where it is a SIPC registered entity who is allowed to change their year end from February. For individuals, it's linked to the SARS tax season every year. And the SIPC annual return is linked to their company registration date. And so that's why I said in the beginning, the more information you give Data Grows in this client detail, the more automated your tasks will be. And in fact, most tasks will not schedule at all unless you provide that information. But you can then safely know that you will never forget about a task because it didn't appear on a spreadsheet for that month. And so it really does just reassure you that all of your clients are taken care of. Other features that this particular client table holds is additional information and tables that we need to track for our clients. You can, for example, add all of their bank account details here should you need to be able to access them. You can create a register of directors, past and present, and this just allows you to access their information quickly It pre-populates to certain data grows reports as well. And so make use of this, capture this for your clients, and then thereafter, all you need to do is maintain them. The required documents tab, this can be custom set up by the owner of the account and certain other users as well, where you specify per entity type the list of documents that the firm is required to get on initial onboarding as well as maintenance of this client. So all of the FICA stuff that we are responsible for, all of the submissions that we need to always have up-to-date documents, this table is going to help you keep track of it. You will see there is an expiry date that you can assign to the latest upload, and there is a report that highlights these expired documents at any given time, so that if you need to do a submission on behalf of this client, you know then that it's time to get a new certified copy of their ID. You can also load your own templates through the setup of this table. And so when you access this client, your current template simply appears over there. Further on is the small business tax indicator. This applies obviously to subsidy registered entities that would qualify for small business tax. And so the turnover rule applies, as well as the questions around shareholding and types of income as well. And so if you answer yes to all of these questions for every tax year that is populated, these are the tax years that are currently due in Data Grows. We then populate an indicator in the same tax year record that shows you whether or not they qualify for small business tax. And so if the person who initially onboards the client and understands their shareholding is different from the person who has to draft the financials or submit the tax return, this indicator shows them exactly which tax calculation to apply. The same will pull through to the corporate tax return task as well. And so yes to all of those questions results in a qualifies. If you answer no to any of those questions, it will then show as does not qualify. And so that's very useful in terms of applying the best tax rates for our clients. Furthermore, you will see that I can access any task table specific to this client, and it then filters only on this client. So the main accounting task table will show all of our clients who have tasks that are not yet completed, but within a client record, it only filters on them. This gives you really good focus on what still needs to be done, what deadlines are coming up, and are we on top of this particular client's tasks. You can also, under the subsidy departments, create a share register. I call it the 30-second share register because it really takes 30 seconds to generate a share certificate for your client for their shareholder. This can then be downloaded as a PDF. It can then be signed by the directors, as well as then stored back against the document section of the share certificate. And so it's really useful and helpful, and again pulls through to a lot of automated reports in Data Grows. So don't skip this step. Get rid of the Excel registers that we've been doing since 1920 and get it into the cloud so that it's safe and won't be lost should something happen to your machine. So that is the gist of the client details. And the more you give us, as I said, the more automated Data Grows will be. Now, the minute you save a client record, all of the very next tasks will schedule if it is within the prescribed scheduled time of that particular task. What I mean by that is for VAT returns, for example, we don't schedule 2 periods ahead. We only schedule the period that is currently due. And so you will see in our VAT returns table that we only have due dates for January, and then for our farmers, we do schedule a little bit ahead in advance. But this is only for the returns that can be done in the very near future. On the 1st of February, we will schedule all of the monthly and odd vendors for preparation for that. But currently you're only seeing monthly and even vendors in this task table. The same applies for many tasks. We don't want to clutter you and stress you out with tasks that you simply can't submit yet. And so we only do it as and when it can actually be submitted. Some of them a little bit ahead of time for pre-billing purposes, but currently it relates to the work that we can physically do, and then we take it from there. Okay. All of the automation for every accountant that was assigned to a client within a specific role populates for them in the All Tasks Due dashboard. This dashboard is then a full summary of the entire firm's team and the work that they need to do. The due column is giving us the due dates of those tasks, and then they are separated into their task tables at a column level over here. And so I always recommend to use this as a filtered view. Look at one team member at a time, because as you can see, we have 147 records and our data is quite small in this demo database. And so what I had on the screen before was a filter on Lesedi as my example. And our filters are really great on any table. You can filter on any column. You can also filter on multiple columns at the same time. And if you navigate away and come back to a table, your filter remains applied. Even if you log out of the app, I mean, I applied this filter last Friday, so it stays. So you don't have to keep researching for something while you are looking at a table and then navigating away, or if you need to refresh. There's nothing worse than pushing refresh because you've made a change and then you have to search all over again. So this particular display currently is giving me all of Lesedi's tasks, and it's giving me a couple of other information as well. Currently, she has applied for leave, which we have logged in Datagrows in January. And so her all tasks due looks quite bad with all the pink on the screen. But basically, it's telling her and myself as her partner that she's got a lot of work that while she is on leave could potentially be missed. So deadlines will be missed if she doesn't do that work either before she takes her leave or while she is on leave if she can fit some work in between. Obviously, every leave situation can be unique, but if you capture it in Datagrows, you are then going to at least see which clients and which tasks will be affected. So please make sure that you use the leave tracker and that it then assists you to make sure that your clients don't suffer because your accountants are on the beach. Okay. The other thing that this due column is showing us is any tasks highlighted in pink mean that the due date has passed and they have not yet been completed. So yesterday was the 23rd. So anything not yet done prior to today will be marked pink. Anything due within the next 7 days from today is marked yellow, and anything due thereafter, which some of them are quite far into the future depending on their nature, is then marked in white and is not our immediate focus as yet. It allows you to plan ahead, but this is critical in terms of what we need to do and make sure that our clients are okay. So you will see if you scroll to the right that these little numbers start populating. These relate then to this specific due date where Lesedi is the accountant, and each partner and manager will have their own numbers that appear. And so if I am her partner on some of the tasks, I can then also filter where I am the partner, and that is what I have to oversee in terms of where Lesedi is concerned. And so it makes my job a little bit less. There are fewer tasks over here. We have an income tax individual, so a provisional taxpayer who is due today. We have a payroll that should have been done by the 18th. We have some SARS internal tasks, and that is it. So actually from my side, it looks like I'm managing her quite okay. And in terms of her leave, there's not very much that I need to panic about. The other partner can worry about the rest. Then if we want to see which clients are affected, you can click on the number, and this will take you to that task table and filter on the client for that due date and that accountant and that partner. So where I am the partner, then it will filter on this task. So again, focus, what am I busy with? What do I have to achieve? Now, each of our tasks have a notes field to allow you to make notes of where you are. We understand that you get interrupted 3,000 times a day. And so it's important to make notes of where you were so that every time your brain doesn't have to start from scratch to try and figure out where you left this client. So please, please, please use the notes field. We have progress drop downs. We have workflows in the forms of tick boxes. They might seem mundane, but I promise you, if I don't use them, it is so easy to forget something when you are interrupted as to where you finished and what you actually did. And there's nothing worse than assuming a task is complete and then submitting and you forgot to actually load something on behalf of your client. Requesting corrections and that kind of thing, they just don't look good. They raise flags all over the place. So use the workflows, encourage your team to use the workflows as well. And then anything SARS related will have a section around payment or refund, around making sure that if there's a payment that your client releases it, if there's a refund that you can track it, if there's a verification that you can track it. And so please don't skip that step. If anything at all, make sure that that is completed. And so if we come back to reviewing what Lesedi has or hasn't done, this task looks completely empty. And so if there was an issue, I would want to know from her why nothing's been done yet. You know, the 24th of Jan is our very last day, and really we shouldn't be still trying to do stuff today. With our luck, e-filing will go down because everyone's trying to submit. So I'm going to have a chat with her and say to her, listen, this is not okay. Is it done? And did you just not update data grows? Did the client not send you what you needed? And why have your notes not reflected that? And so that is the kind of use that you're going to make out of these tables so that when you are in a crunch, you don't have to try and go scratch for emails, scratch for files. It's all here already. Okay. If for some reason you have already completed it, so you filed it on e-filing, let's say it was a null return, so no payment, no refund, no verification, and it just worked out beautifully. They paid all their provisional tax to the cent, etc., which never happens, I know, but let's say it did. And so Lesedi says to me, no, I did complete it. I just forgot to update data grows. Can you just archive the task, or she can archive? The way you do that in data grows is you change the status in any task to completed. That is how you tell data grows that this task is no longer overdue or due, and it can then be archived. By archive, I mean for every task table that we have an archive table. So we don't delete tasks that we complete, we archive them. And this gives you then the history of work that's been done throughout your database for all of your clients. And so you start to build this history of what have we done for people, what haven't we done, etc. And so by marking that as complete, it reduced her all tasks due. She no longer has an income tax individual task that is due today. And so that is how you complete data grows. That's how you get rid of these little numbers everywhere, and you can then take it from there. As I said, navigating to the tables will give you insights on the progress of the tasks, but it is not useful for time planning to see which clients need to be done. For that, we have built a report called Your To-Do List for the next 30 days. If you click on the arrow for that report, it's going to show you your entire team and the work that needs to be done. If we have a look there at Lesedi, she's got a few tasks that are coming up in the next 30 days, but then her dashboard for her being on leave is separate. And so all of these guys are still a factor for various partners and managers. And so she needs a bit of help if this leave is not something that she can then still do the work while she is there. If for some reason your staff members are completely unavailable, maybe there's a family crisis or they are ill, you can reassign these tasks to any other team member who can assist. and it will only reassign the current month. It won't move the entire client assignment to a new accountant unless you so choose to do that. You will do that through the client table, but reassigning these tasks is as easy as navigating to them and then just changing the accountant for that particular period. And so maybe she really has a bit of a problem and needs some help. You can then reassign them, and then they will no longer be a factor while she's on leave. The very next month that schedules will go back to Lesedi and she can carry on as normal. In that case, in terms of the timekeeping for Data Grows, we have an automated timekeeper where while you are working on a record, you simply click on it and push play. What that does is it captures the client that you are working on as well as the task, but it doesn't link to the accountant who was assigned to the task at the time. So if, for example, I'm busy reviewing Lesedi's work, my time needs to be recorded, me being Mariska. And so Data Grows goes according to the user session. Whoever pushes play is then logged as the accountant in the time log. But that means then that you get accurate timekeeping no matter who's actually assigned to the task. And I can then here say, that I've reviewed her management reports. I can make notes in the drop down as well, but I won't archive her task until she's done her steps. And if I click save and then push stop, any notes that are made while I am timing and are saved actually pull through to the time log as well. So that's really, really useful when you have clients who go over retainer or you want to see the progress of a task, you can then do so. You also get the task status in the time log. If certain billing is linked to only the completion of a task, you can then filter on this status as well before you authorize it for billing purposes. And so that's very useful if you don't want to invoice the client in drips and drabs. Okay, so just back to our detailed report on time management. Each of the team members have their own detailed pages, and this gives you that time management, that time planning, which tasks, which clients are coming up. And so Bukhle knows this is what I have to do for the next month. It doesn't look too bad. She's got it under control. She's just got to make sure that these ones are seen to so that the clients are not left without the service that they are paying for. This particular report is emailed every Monday morning at 7 o'clock to every single team member. And so they get a weekly reminder of anything that's been assigned to them, reassigned to them, and they can also access it live in Data Grows at any time. So nobody ever has an excuse to say, I didn't know I had to do the work. If it's on their name, they're responsible until it gets changed to somebody else. And so that kind of team management, you guys will then have to see what works for you. But the whole point of Data Grows is to move away from micromanaging your team and stressing about what it is they're doing or not doing, and allowing the app to do that for you. And then you just have to oversee it using the reports that you have at your disposal. Okay. So I showed you in the services tab all of the services that we automate. So that was accounting, VAT returns, SIPSI annual returns, SIPSI beneficial ownership declarations, financials and audits, all of the payroll related tasks and submissions, and all of the tax related submissions. So corporate tax, individuals, provisionals, and turnover tax. That everything, if you switch it on in Data Grows, will run like clockwork, and you guys just have to go and log your time and do the work itself. Okay. But we realize that not everything in our lives is planned out according to a deadline. Sometimes a client throws a spanner in the works and requests an ad hoc task to be done. Now, we don't want to work for free. Working for free creates animosity and resentment. So Data Grows allows you to track those in-between tasks simply by adding a record into a table. You can also add a record into any of the automated tables to capture and track any backlog. So we will schedule into the future, but you are able to add backlog tasks as well so that your tracking and your periods remain consistent with the work that is done. But in terms of adding ad hoc work, we have a firm and ad hoc tasks table where for all of these tasks, there's quite a few here to choose from. You can actually tell DataGrows how much you charge to do this per client within their rate group. And so when you do the work, the billing is automated. And so that's quite useful, especially because these can be tedious tasks that we struggle to recover unless we log our time and we agree on a fee. And so let your clients know upfront what it will cost them, or that it is an hourly task, and then log your time and make sure that you get paid for those jobs. You can also then archive them as they are completed. We have an auto bulk completion over here as well, so you don't have to open the record and change the status, but it is available while you are working on it as well. The notes and all of that pull through to the time log exactly like they do on any other table. We get asked a lot, how do we add to this drop down? You can't. You're welcome to submit your suggestions for additional tasks here, but it is a set drop down because you can link it to a specific rate for a specific client. And so this one is hard coded into DataGrows, but we add to the list quite happily if you send us suggestions. If, however, you either don't want to wait for us to add to the list, or it really is a once-off random thing that you won't necessarily do again for a long time, we have the once-off custom tasks table. Or if you find that you just constantly are needing your own task names, you can use the once-off custom tasks table. There you will add a record and give the task name whatever you like, assign it to a client, assign it to an accountant, and then specify to us how it is billed. Remember, DataGrows is designed to take your time that you log, compare that to the rates that you provide, and then generate an automatic billing report. If you make use of fixed retainers, using DataGrows then gives you profitability reporting on those retainers. Are we charging enough for the hours and hours of work that this client costs? And so in any table, you need to think about, how am I going to bill for this? Is DataGrows able to pull it through to the billing report? And so even on your custom task table, you can either connect it to an existing rate and choose the dropdown, or you can tell us that it is a fixed amount that you agreed upon with the client for this particular task. When you then authorize your time, it is added according to your selection over there. Next, we understand that there are certain things that we do for our clients that require us to remember it on a regular basis. Now, remembering causes a lot of stress. I know it, I'm there, I'm with you guys. I run my own accounting firm, and there is nothing worse than agreeing to do something on behalf of a client and then forgetting to do it. Now, we are trained and conditioned to think about SARS, to think about penalties and that kind of stuff. But there are certain services that we provide that aid that to run smoother, or they are over and above to then just aid with the financial management of our clients. For example, paying their suppliers by certain dates. You might be the initial loader of that payment, and then the client releases, or you might have full control. Depending on each relationship with the client, there are certain things we do over and above for them. We might even have internal tasks that we tend to forget. As accountants, we are just like plumbers whose own home's taps always leak. My tax return is always the last one to go in because I'm always worried about other people. And so if I have to do things for my own firm that ensure that it runs smoothly, I'm going to forget while I am busy focusing on other people. And so we've also created the specialized tasks table that allows you to actually create your own automation for certain tasks. You do this by going to the specialized scheduler. So this is a setup that you will do once off for your client. And this is where you go really specific with the task that we don't have a separate task table for. and you want to be reminded of what to do. Here we have an example of a client who has to be tax compliant all the time because of their DSD profile. And so we have a reminder set up here for a quarterly check on their tax clearance. That's what I've called it. It's for this client. It's assigned to that accountant on the 15th of every quarter, and it schedules 5 days before that due date. So it allows the VAT to go through, the payments and everything to be sorted. And then we've linked it to the request for good standing for rates purposes, but at least the reminder to do it every 3 months populates, and Simphiwe now has it in her all tasks due and won't forget about it. And so don't skip this table. If there's something in DataGrows that you need automated that we haven't given its own table to, make sure you use the specialized scheduler. Next, there are tasks that involve company maintenance. Please don't create these tasks in other places. We have designed this specifically to help you cope and remember everything that we have to do when we make a Sub-C change. And so that's anything from new registrations, director changes, which they've now thrown us another curveball and is not working properly, etc., etc. So this is stressful enough without even trying to get the documents together. The government and their lovely websites that are down half the time will take 3 hours to load. Make sure that you are using this table to keep track of the documents you've received versus not, as well as which clients you are currently trying to get the changes through for. So here again, you add a record as and when you need it. You choose from the transactions we've loaded. If there is a transaction we haven't added that you need, or they introduce a new transaction that we haven't added, please let us know. We go and do the research and make sure that when we create it, that the supporting documents are actually loaded in DataGrows. So if I select this company registration, this will be the name that I have reserved for this client, or that they reserved themselves in their wisdom. And so when you click save and edit, you will see that the subtask becomes available. This list is all the documents that Sub-C requires in order to register this company, as well as help you keep track of the additional information that you load on their website. So where must their address be? How many shares, certificates do you need to issue, etc., etc. What year end did they want? Hopefully it's February. So all of that kind of stuff, you can make notes here. And then very importantly, that when you are collating all of this, that you can then indicate for yourself when you've requested these documents, as well as when you've received them. So you're not doing a half submission that will be rejected, because you've gone through the list, you have absolutely everything. You're emailing Sub-C a comprehensive list of documents, and it will be done the first time around, saving you time and making you a bit of profit off of a task that we really struggle to do at a good rate for our clients. And so that is why this is also a set dropdown. We built in the supporting documents, and then you make sure that you collate the ones that are applicable. Next on this task, when you lodge a transaction with Sub-C and you receive the form that you need to sign, so the co-reg or the call 39 or whatever the new process then is for changing directors, but when you create the arrangement with Sub-C to send them supporting documents, if you save that date in the uploaded, so when you click lodge on their website and you click save, we then give you the due date by when you need to email them the supporting documents. So if it's 10 calendar days, then you know by when you need to actually email them everything, and hopefully you've only clicked lodge once you got all your supporting documents, but then at least you know by when you've got to send that mail with the signed form from your client, and you can then keep track of it as well. So this also allows you again to log your time while you're busy with this very tedious stuff, as well as then keep track of what you've done for your clients as well. So when you're looking at their archive history, you know, oh yes, I did a direct change, and so I've got the history of it as well. Similarly, for SARS, anything related to SARS in terms of supporting documents has its own table. So again, please don't go and create that in the custom tables at all. We have designed these tasks to also give you the list of supporting documents that you need. You can also capture your SARS appointment dates and case numbers here as well to keep track of that when you're calling them. And as I said, again, it's around tracking them for your clients. A VAT return verification, for example, my clients especially always feel entitled to that money. And so this gives you that ability to track it. Make sure you remember to submit the supporting documents to SARS, as well as then follow up for escalation. And so each of these tasks have their own subtask with the list of supporting documents that, again, you can keep track of when you requested them. If you're still yet to receive them, maybe the client does their own processing, you can then make notes as you receive them, or just that you've put them all together for uploading. And then for SARS, when you upload the supporting documents, so when they can begin their verification or review of your documents, you save that date under uploaded over there. And then we work out the SARS prescribed turnaround time in working days by when you should receive a response from them. So we take into account all of the weekends and public holidays. And this then tells you by the 22nd of February, I can then escalate for this refund if I haven't received a response yet from SARS. Our day counter here counts in working days as well. And so this one, for example, if I've not yet received a response, I can follow up with them. Same with IT14. You can then follow up with SARS. This one not yet, that one not yet, this one next week. And so it allows you to keep track of the stuff, not forget about them, only phone SARS when it's appropriate, and not try and escalate something that they're going to tell you in any event can't be escalated yet. Okay, so that is the point of this table. It's really, really helpful. These can fall through the cracks so easily, and there are over 40 to choose from here. Again, if we haven't added something that you require, please let us know. I can add to this table quite easily, and I'm happy to do so if it means it makes your life a little bit easier. In terms of the time log, I showed you how easy it is to push play on a task that you are working on. Open the task, push play, push stop. It's that easy. However, if you forget to push play and you rushed into something and now you've been working on it for 3 hours and you don't want to lose that time, you can add time manually to the time log. This will allow you to select the client, select the task, make your notes, and choose the accountant and start and end time. So you can capture time manually, but please don't do it as the rule. Make use of the start stop function. If you get interrupted and work on something else, push stop, push start on the next task, and you can leave the others open. And so if you are busy timing on accounting and somebody calls you to ask about their VAT return, you can just open the task in another tab, go and do your thing there while you time, and then when you come back, you're still on the table or record that you were busy with, so you don't lose track of where you were. Okay, so all of the time that gets logged, as I said, is accountant specific. The notes are there, the duration pulls through, etc., etc. If you go through the rate group and rate setup of Data Grows, that is handled in the training database. This time then can be authorized in the time authorized table. You can, at this point, write off that the accountant may be logged incorrectly. You can mark it as internal if you want it still to count to their target but not charge the client, or you mark it as invoice pending if you want it to go through the Data Grows process. If, for example, you invoice the clients in advance before the time was actually logged, you can also mark it as invoiced and it will be archived straight away. So that will avoid double billing. And so you do have that action available. And then for invoice pending in our period, what that does is create everything that we've now authorized for time. And you will see that the time log is now empty. So nobody can now edit these records because the general accountants will not have access to this table. You can, as the owner of the firm, still make changes and add records as well. But this allows you to then sort of lock in your billing period and prevent changes. If you want to push something back that you're not ready to invoice yet, you can mark it back to time authorized and then wait for next month to bill it again. So all of the time and time invoice pending, along with our preset retainers and rate groups that we've created, have pulled through to the billing report that I can view at any time in Data Grows. And so this is what my invoices would be. And so you will review them. You will check that you are happy with the figures. If you expand on any of them, if notes are made, they will pull through, as well as the period that was worked on. So it's really, really comprehensive and useful to actually see what's going on in your clients and stuff. The retainer can be broken down into various subsections depending on your setup as well. And so if you are ready to renegotiate, you can also see it in that way. And then the billing information can be created as an invoice in Data Grows. This then allows you to get that profitability reporting that I was talking about. And these invoices that are created over here, if we filter on today's date, so there are my invoices that I've created for all of the time that I've worked, as well as my retainers. You can see the totals that are being created as well. If you click on it, you'll see the detailed lines that apply to the various services and retainer. And with your integration either to Sage or Xero, it is as easy as posting it to your accounting system by ticking the ones you want to push through. You will receive an invoice status back, or any issues that might occur, as well as your next accounting invoice number that it would have generated. So it doesn't use our invoice numbers. It will carry on with your current numbering that you've got there. And you can also make a reference and note as well for each invoice if you wanted to go through to the accounting system. So it's really, really quick and easy to do your billing through Data Grows, but it is reliant on your setup of your rates as well as the use of your time log to make sure that that goes smoothly. A really great upgrade that we released in the middle of January is our new communication department. Here we are going to develop additional letters and documents that you can customize for your clients, and this autofills from the client's information. The first one that we designed was an engagement letter. Obviously, it is quite a long and tedious document to set up for every single client. And so we've made it automatic depending on how you want it to be laid out. And I would really encourage you to go and watch the video that I designed and recorded for this. But in essence, this Word document contains XML that links back to your database and your clients. And so when you open it, you can customize all of the wording and paragraphs. We've even given you a auto table of contents that will update as you change the paragraphs. And it's really, really great because you can set up a document that applies to your firm. This guy is quite large. It's very comprehensive, so you can customize it, make it shorter, make it longer, and change the information that is contained. What you shouldn't change and what you just need to be careful of is the information contained in square brackets. That is where the automation comes from. You'll see this will pull through from client, that's your firm. The footer even contains automation. And so those sorts of things are important so that wherever you reference the client's name, it will just pull through and populate this document for you. And so you set up this template. You have to start with our template. So you can't start with your own template and think by uploading it here that it will have that XML. So you must start with our template. You can also customize the email that will go out to your clients. And then under send documents, you would then add the record, choose the client that you want to have sent, and choose the client's engagement letter as your template. This, just by the way, does require you to integrate DataGrows to Microsoft 365, and you will then be able to email the document to yourself or directly to the client. In doing so, you receive an email from yourself because of the Microsoft integration, and the email will look like this. So it will come from yourself to your client or to yourself. The email text is what you set up in the email template of that section, and then the completed document is attached in the email containing all the client's information that you selected. So this was an example I ran before, but you will see that it now contains the client's name. The table of contents is there, all of our columns and paragraphs are there, and the signatures are populated by the clients as well as the partner who is assigned to them. So it's really helpful and quick and easy. We will be adding to this table things like a BE affidavit and other letters like confirmation of earnings and that kind of thing as well. So watch that space, but definitely make use of the engagement letter if you find that your current process is very tedious and you actually don't end up sending these out to clients. The last feature that I just want to cover with you is the emails. This is automated emails to your clients based on the tasks that are specified. Somebody asked us last week if we do newsletters and that kind of thing. Not quite yet. The whole point of these are to focus again around deadlines and payments. And so you'll see that this particular one links to provisional tax payments that you've indicated in your provisional tax task, where the client needs to go and release the payment. And there's nothing worse than being on time on your side. You've sent them everything and they forget to release it and you forgot to go and check. So this just helps all parties involved make sure that the client submits their or releases their payments on time. And in this case, you can completely customize this entire email's text. But again, the information contained in square brackets is how we automate it. So we link, in this case, to the provisional tax task, all of the clients who have been marked as submitted, that have not been marked as paid, and the due date is greater than today, and in the same month. So next month, February, we're going to have quite a few clients coming up. And so I can customize the layout and the order as long as I don't change the information in the square brackets. If you accidentally type over it and didn't realize, you can just right click wherever you want that information back, and you can just click on the field and it will pull through for you. Okay. You can add your logo here at the bottom, make it personal, and this email will come from the accountant assigned to this client, and the client can then simply reply back to their accountant. So that is where the Microsoft 365 integration comes into play again. In terms of sending these emails, you can draw a report if you want to see which clients are affected by that. You will then click on the report and it will show you the clients that will be affected and whether or not the email will send successfully. So if a team member hasn't yet integrated to Microsoft, it will show you that that email cannot be sent because of that, and you can just have them integrate. If they don't have a license, their emails will not be sent. So we do request that your accountants that you assign tasks have licenses that form part of your subscription to DataGrows. Their emails will not go out if they don't have a license. And make sure that your client contact information is obviously completed in order for them to receive the email correctly. Okay. Once you've drawn the report and you are happy, you can also send a test email to yourself That will send you the first email on the list so that you can just make sure you're happy with your editing, and it will then show you the detail, the auto population as well. And then if you say send emails, it will email all the clients who pulled through on that report, and you can go from there. This is a lot of information to absorb in an hour. And really, I didn't cover every single table in too much detail. If you need more information, remember to go through the training database. That really, really helps. And then we also have a resources tab. If you click on the resources tab, it's going to take you through to our blog post. This shows you January upgrades. So the engagement letter video is contained in there, how to integrate with Xero or Sage, how to complete the beneficial ownership module. It is so good, guys. It really helps you prepare all of those supporting documents to succeed. How to use the training app, frequently asked questions. You can watch a previously recorded demo and then access the full manual. This manual is a full list of all the features that we handle, that if you click on it, it takes you to screenshots on what to do, how to navigate it, how to use it, what does it mean, and how to make the most of that feature so that you are keeping track of your tasks within Datagrows. And so you will see how to get there, how to work on the task, etc., etc. So there's a lot of information that you can access on your own, and we do encourage you to make sure that you understand how to use Datagrows correctly. And then lastly, if you're stuck, please click on the help button. You can complete your email address and a message to us. This comes straight to our support team. We don't believe in robotic responses or auto replies or a ticketing system, and then you are number 1,000 in the row. We really, really try to reply and resolve same day. So we understand how your business works and we understand how our business works. And together we really do make a good team. You can also email us direct, either hello@mydatagrows or support@mydatagrows.com. And our telephone as well as a WhatsApp number is also on this window. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Should you need assistance or you'd like to make a feature suggestion, please let us know. A lot of the upgrades that happen every month are because of our users who have partnered with us to make sure the Datagrows is the best app that it can be. We are very proud of what we have built, and we know that the sky's the limit with what we can do. And we really do try and constantly improve and make sure that your business is running smoothly and that stress levels all around are managed and that clients are taken care of. That is the end of our demo. Thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck with all of your deadlines, and let Datagrows help you to get through this next season.